Hello everyone, I'm Sohnjee. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much. I appreciate you checking me out. If you have been hanging with me for a while, thank you. I appreciate your support. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button and the bell so you know when I upload new content. Again, thank you so much. For those of you that are wondering where the part twos are, the part twos are found at my website on www.sohnjee.com. So that's for those of you that want to know the in-depth extra things that I tell you about your relationships when dealing with the various sun signs. On part two, we discuss how you are in finance, how you are in difficult situations, and how you are in the bedroom. So if that's what you're into and you want to hear about that, and I also give you some wonderful solutions, helpful hints on how to maintain those relationships, and also some ways that if you're having difficulties, some things you can try to lessen it and get along, make things a lot smoother. So now that the business is out of the way, let's get right into Capricorn. Hello Capricorns, how are you? If you're a Capricorn, that means your birthday is December 22nd through and including January 19th. So, hey Capricorn, what's good with you? Let's talk about Capricorns because you guys are very misunderstood in the zodiac, okay? Let's talk about it. Capricorns, you have a strong sense of self. So typically you don't understand why people don't understand a Capricorn because you guys are pretty clear on who you are. However, because you're also known to be that sun sign that doesn't really express their emotions, people kind of make assumptions about it, and because you really don't care, you just let them walk with it. So let me help you out for those of you that have a Capricorn in your life. Capricorns keep their walls up, and you have to be very patient with them. They are not letting you in until they feel that you should be in. So pull up a chair, grab a book. Capricorn is not letting you in and not taking their walls down until they are good and ready. All right? They are practical people. They can be dominating and very stubborn, hence stubborn as a goat. That's them. So they are logical people. They're analytical. They're in their heads. They are thinkers. And sometimes because they're not really thinking about how you're going to feel because they're in their head thinking, they come across as insulting. Capricorns are also accused of being slow-moving people, but it's not that they're not quick with it. It's just that Capricorns want to think it through because they like sure things. Speaking of which, what does a Capricorn like? Well, typically, they are traditional people. They are very much into family. They are understated regarding their status, but they're typically very accomplished. They're very committed to their goals. They like quality, craftsmanship, and typically your Capricorn is a music lover of some sort. What are their weaknesses? Well, they come across as know-it-alls. They can be quite unforgiving if you do something that a Capricorn finds just over the limit. They can be quite stuck on unforgiving you for a very, very long time. They can be condescending and pessimists. Now the thing when I looked into, okay, what were Capricorn dislikes? This is what came up. Almost everything at some point. I didn't say a Capricorn. That's what they said. They said a Capricorn is going to dislike everything at some point. So that's when they're in their pessimistic phase. You just got to ride the wave and wait for them to get through it. Okay? I didn't say a Capricorn. That's what they said. Is that true, Capricorn? All right, we're going to keep going. Now, we talked about them being strong-willed, stubborn, and they're also known to shut down and stop communicating with you. A Capricorn also can be known to disappear on you. Now, this typically happens with a Capricorn if the money is involved. Capricorns are very into their financial situations. So, if your Capricorn has money issues or they feel as though their money is funny, you can set your watch to the fact that that Capricorn is going to withdraw, isolate, and figure out how they can get their money back to where they are comfortable, all right? Because sometimes they carry the world's problems on their shoulders and they disappear to solve them on their own. That's something typically you will find in a Capricorn. You know, they are the misunderstood warrior of the zodiac. So sometimes they are thinking about things that perhaps their partners or the people in their lives haven't even thought of, but the Capricorn has, because they show their love through providing and through acts. So if they don't have the finances to carry out the things that they think that they should be doing, it bothers the Capricorn. They are hardworking, quite complex people. So as I said, you have to be patient in getting to know them, and you have to give them the space that they need when they are isolating, trying to figure things out, especially that money. You want them to come back around, give them some of your money. Sorry, Capricorn. All right. But however, once a Capricorn lets you in and takes their barriers down, they are very loyal, very committed, and very loving. You know, you just have to get there with them. So those are the basics about Capricorn. Remember, those are general things. Of course, everyone's unique, everyone's different, but that's a basic guideline. Now we're going to get into what is it like with your sun sign when they are dealing with our wonderfully stubborn and loyal and committed Capricorn. Well, let's talk about it right after this. Hello, Capricorn with Gemini. Welcome to your matchup. Now, initially, Capricorn may be attracted to Gemini's fast mind, their clever sense of humor, and their light personality. Now, Capricorn is likely to be hardworking, serious, and structured. Of course, that's who Capricorn typically is. And at times, with the matchup with the Gemini, they may feel more like a parent than a lover. Now, Geminis often prefer a fairly free lifestyle. And by that I mean they are a lot more spontaneous and indecisive, far more than their Capricorn counterpart. And so Capricorn in the long term may begin to see this as reckless, and this might wear Capricorn out because Capricorns like structure and Geminis would prefer something a lot less structured. Let's say that. Now, Geminis are also known to play a lot of games within a relationship sometimes. And for some of Capricorns, this may be a bit too much. This is going to annoy you. For example, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Capricorns value security in relationship. They like for you to say what you mean and mean what you say. Geminis are known communicators, so they like to play on words. And in that respect, they will say one thing from a Capricorn's point of view, like we are together, but do another and be extremely flirtatious. And the Gemini is doing this, or they're known to do this perhaps, when they're trying to invoke an emotion from Capricorn, who we all know, they say that Capricorns don't really get emotional. So a Gemini is likely to push the envelopes with Capricorn to get them to do what they want, which is to show them some type of a reaction. Now, so I said maybe, chances are, very likely, this is gonna happen. Now, while you're both hardworking, you might find that your Gemini typically goes about pursuing their goals a lot differently than Capricorn. Capricorn is steadfast, earnest in applying pressure to get what you need. Gemini, they're just as ambitious, they just choose to go about achieving their goals in a different way. They would rather maneuver and politic and talk their way into their goals as opposed to actually putting in the work and grinding it out. Now also, in response to the communicator, the great communicator, the Gemini, they prefer talking about things more than actually doing them. So they like to talk about the idea of this and explore different things, but to actually go ahead and actually do those things, perhaps not so much. Capricorn is usually much more conservative and reserved than Gemini, while also being more of a traditionalist. Geminis like to explore, they always are curious about things, so they like for things to switch up, where Capricorn likes things to remain steady. You know, if it isn't broken, Capricorn isn't trying to fix it. Whereas Gemini is saying, well, what if we broke it? Let's see if we can put it back together. That type of thing. Now, they are the planners, the Capricorn, with good self-discipline, very down to earth, and very practical. And in this sense, they can ground Gemini and provide stability for them. Now, your Capricorn is also a lot less sociable than Gemini, and so conflict may occur over staying home or going out, or Gemini just talking and talking and talking, and Capricorn would like for you to hush sometimes, Gemini. Just hush. Compromise must be had on this front in order to proceed further. Capricorns will isolate. They need to think about things. And in their thinking about it, Gemini, they really don't need you to ask them over and over again, what's the problem? Let me help you out with what you're thinking about. Well, have you thought about this and have you thought about that? You're going to bog your Capricorn down. So here's my advice to you, Gemini. Hush. Just hush. All right? Now, the long-term chemistry can become challenging for the two of you because, as I said, Capricorn is driven by all things financial, and Gemini has a propensity to boredom. So if Capricorn is always working, chances are Gemini is going to find that to be a drag after a while and begin to buck the system. They need adventure, they need change, they need flexibility. So how do you balance this when you have the person that is steadfast and earnest and the person that's wanting to go and try new things? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how you, Capricorn, can keep your Gemini curious and engaged in what you're doing, as well as how to keep your conflicts down about spending, etc., and the need for Gemini to explore uncharted territory just because. We'll also talk about how you, Capricorn, can get some quiet time from your Gemini without having to start an argument. Also, we'll talk about the fact that what makes these couples very electric, the Gemini and the Capricorn, is Gemini can handle the super freak in Capricorn. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that Capricorn has a super freak side? Well, they most certainly do. Yes, you do. And Gemini will love your super freak, Capricorn, and they will be there to encourage you to bring it on out. So in part 2, we're going to talk about the super freak, Capricorn, and the blah, 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 blah of Gemini, and how we get those two to take that energy and make it work both in the bedroom and outside of it. So join me on part 2 at www.sohnjee.com, where we'll talk about Capricorn and Gemini, the complexities of the two of you, how you can get over the things that are different about each other and make it work for the betterment of the union. And if you have a personalized question you want to talk to me, you can contact me on Instantgo through your iPhone or your iPad at Instantgo/Sohnjee. And finally, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget, you're welcome to leave your comments about your Capricorn-Gemini relationship in the comments section below. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you over on part 2. Take care. Bye-bye.